Hey everyone, Two Angry Frogs here, and today we're going to show you how to access all of the cool pet customizations for Warlocks. I figured since I'm heading back to maining a Warlock for the War Within, and I needed to get a lot of these myself, it'd be a great time to share how to do this with my fellow Warlocks as well. Some are easy to get, and well, some not so easy. And some you just need a little bit of luck with the RNG. So let's dive into the customizations, how to use them, and how to get them. But before we begin, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you always know what we're up to next. Now, let's get into it. The great thing with Warlock pet customization is that there are no requirements to unlock the ability to learn new options, and you get a decent number of them by default. To change your pet look and see what you have available, simply head to the barbershop. When you open the barbershop interface, you'll see all of your pet types across the top, and clicking each one will show you the customization options for that type. You can also preview each customization and see the source of how to get it by hovering over each one. For example, the Red Imp can be obtained from the Exotic Reagent Merchant VL found at Frost, Whisper Gorge, and Winterspring. There is one Warlock pet, the Doomguard, which is only visible when you summon it via the spell Ritual of Doom. And for this pet, we get all color variations by default. For three others, including the Voidwalker, Felguard, and Infernal, we get all options for the base model, and then we can get the remaining models and colors very easily. The additional models for the Voidwalker, Felguard, and Infernal can be obtained in one of two ways. Either by having someone with Legion Inscription craft a Grimoire, or by buying it on the auction house, which is the easiest way by far. Last I checked, all of the Grimoires were selling for 500 to 800 gold, and there were hundreds of each type available, so it's not a huge hit to the bank. For the Voidwalker, both the Voidwalker and Voidseeker customization options and colors are provided by default. The last option is the Voidlord, which has a base and alternate color, and both are learned from the Grimoire of the Voidlord. For the Felguard model, we start with 5 color schemes by default. Felguard pets also have a Wrathguard customization, and both color variations of the Wrathguard are learned from the Grimoire of the Wrathguard. Much like the Felguard, for the base Infernal model, there are no additional customization options beyond the defaults provided, and we start with 3 colors. Tied to the Infernal is the Abyssal model. Abyssal customization and color variations are learned from the Grimoire of the Abyssal. Our Imp has the most options of any of our pets, and getting all the models and color schemes requires a number of things we need to complete. If you have not completed the Warlock level 30 questline, or you have not acquired the first Legion artifact weapon, it does take a little more time, as both of those are required to get all variations. There are 3 types of Imp models that we can acquire: the Imp, which we get as default, the Fel Imp, and the Fiendish Imp. Starting with our default Imp, there are 6 different color options that we can get in addition to the default gray. An easy one to grab is the Dreadfire Imp. We get this by talking to VL, Exotic Reagent Merchant, in Winterspring. He will ask us to give him some of our life force, and when we agree, he will give us the Grimoire in return. The Drain Life can kill you even as a level 70 character, so to make it easy, soulstone yourself right before you start, and you can just resurrect at that same spot. The Fiendish Imp customization can only be acquired when Legion Time Walking is active. We have the next Legion Time Walking coming up August 6th to 13th, so this would be a great time to grab this. To get the customization, we talked to Eredathian, the Time Walking vendor in Legion Dalaran, to purchase the Grimoire of the Fiendish Imp for 1,000 Time Warp badges. Another Imp customization we get from Time Walking weeks is the Void-Touched Fel Imp. For this, we need Burning Crusade Time Walking active, and the Grimoire of the Void-Touched Fel Imp can be purchased from the Time Walking vendor Kupri in Chatrath City for 1,000 Time Warp badges. For the Felblaze Imp, we head to Dire Maul in Feralus. You will want to enter through the portal for the Warpwood Quarter on the eastern side. After entering, head to the left and you will see an Imp Pusillan. Talk to him to complete a small scenario, chasing the Imp until he heads up the platform in the Hidden Reach area. When you talk to him for a final time, he will spawn his true form, and when you defeat him, there is a random chance he will drop the Grimoire of the Felblaze Imp. For high-level characters, Dire Maul is a push, and you can get to Pucelin very easy. Note that you can leave the instance, right-click your character portrait, select Reset All Instances, and Pucelin will be there to try it again if it did not drop for you. You can reset the instance up to 10 times per hour. The drop rate for this one is on the low side, so it can take a few runs to get it. For the Netherbound Imp, we need the Grimoire of the Netherbound Imp, which drops from Matron Felnuna, a Legion Greater Invasion world boss in Antoran Wastes on Argus. This one is a bit trickier to get, as you not only need to have a Legion Greater Invasion active, but it also needs to be the invasion with Matron Felnuna. Legion invasions are active for 6 hours and then are down for 12.5 hours. So how do you know when they are up? The great folks over at GameInfo.io have a constantly running Legion invasion timer just for this. The timer shows when invasions are active and inactive. Check for Matron Felnuna when the invasions are active, and if she's not available, you can wait until the next invasion pops. Next, we have the Hellfire Fel Imp. This one can be much more of a grind. For this one, we need to run the current version of Karazhan Raid, which can be accessed through the portal at the base of the tower in Deadwind Pass. After the Curator boss and before the Shade of Aaron, you will find a suspicious bookshelf, which when opened reveals a secret tunnel. An optional boss, Terestian Illhoof, is located here, and defeating Illhoof has a chance of dropping the Grimoire of the Hellfire Fel Imp. For me, I'm still trying to determine if I really want this one, as this could be a big time sink. For the Darkfire Imp, if you have acquired the first Legion artifact weapon and completed the quest information at any cost, you can take the portal to the Warlock class Order Hall in Legion Dalaran to get the Dreadscar Rift. After you enter the portal, head to the right and you will find Imp Mother Diala. The Imp Mother sells the Grimoire of the Darkfire Imp for 15,000 gold. If you have not started the Legion Warlock class Order Hall questline, shortly after you arrive in Legion Dalaran, you will be greeted by Ritson Flamescowl, who asks you to meet at the Circle of Wills beneath Dalaran. Once at the Circle of Wills, you're asked to help with a summoning portal, but things go awry and you end up in a cage in Dreadscar Rift. After escaping, you complete a scenario that involves freeing other warlocks, retrieving the Tome of Blighted Implements, and then escaping the Dreadscar Rift. Once out of the Dreadscar Rift, talk to Kalidus to select the first artifact weapon you want to pursue. Note that you can select any of the weapons, not just the one for your specialization. Regardless of the weapon you select, it will start a quest line to retrieve that particular artifact weapon. Once you have retrieved the selected artifact weapon, Kalidus will open the portal back to Dreadscar Rift to continue the quest line. We complete another scenario that includes defeating Jagganoth and taking his heart, which allows us to command his armies. We then resurrect Ritson Flamescowl and complete a very short quest line which provides the ability to portal from Dalaran to the Dreadscar Rift and back. At this point, portal out of the Dreadscar Rift and you'll be greeted by a Black Harvest Acolyte who asks you to return to Kalidus. After you recruit Kalidus and Ritson Flamescowl, Gakken the Darkbinder will give you the quest information at any cost. This requires completing a 2-minute mission from the mission board, and once completed, Imp Mother Diala will show up and you can purchase the Grimoire of the Darkfire Imp. For the Felfrost Imp customization, you need to start the Warlock questline that begins at level 30. You'll receive a letter from Madame Shadow inviting you to come to the Darkmoon Fair. Note that you may need to log out and log back in for the letter to show up in your mailbox. To start, we talk to Phineas in the Cleft of Shadow in Orgrimmar, and the stagecoach will take us to the Darkmoon Fair to meet with Madame Shadow. The first part of the questline is pretty straightforward, and we simply talk to some warlocks and soulstone them. Note that when Oman asks you to make a fake soulstone, you can target one of the rats on the dock and use the soulstone ability to make the fake one. At any point during the quest lines, you can choose to acquire the Grimoire in one of 2 ways. The first way is talking to Madame Shadow and starting the dialogue with "That's nice, where have all the people gone?" Eventually choose the option to tell her "I'm on to you" and continue to challenge her until she gets angry. She'll port you into the deathmatch arena with Twinkle, the Felhound, behind her. When you defeat Twinkle, it will drop the Grimoire of the Felfrost Imp. The other method is simply to ignore Twinkle, and when the normal Dark Moon Fair is up, grab the Grimoire, which will be sitting in the deathmatch arena for you to pick up. Regardless of which way you choose, we can get the Fiendish Imp model as well by continuing the Madame Shadow questline. You'll eventually find out that she is not who she claims to be. After taking the portal opened by Oman, you will complete a series of quests, ultimately leading to a final battle with Lord Banehollow in the Tainted Scar. After defeating Banehollow, talk to Oman, who will cast an ability for Fiendish Imps on you. For Seiyad pets, there are two customization options for the Succubus, and the Incubus does not have any beyond the default look. The first Succubus customization, the Shadow Succubus, is learned from the Grimoire of the Shadow Succubus. Like with the Void Lord, these are crafted with the Inscription Profession from Legion and can also be bought on the auction house. The second, the Fel Succubus, is a really cool Legion green recolor and is learned from the Orb of the Fel Succubus. For this one, we need to head to the Cathedral of Eternal Night located in the Broken Shore on the Broken Isles. For this, you are looking for the Hellblaze Temptress enemies. These are all located up the first set of stairs and along the pathway at the top of the stairs, and there are 7 in total. You will want to kill the mobs up to the first boss, Agronox, but do not kill the first boss. If you don't get the orb, like we did with Dire Maul, you can leave the dungeon, reset all instances, and try it again. But if you kill the first boss, Argonox, all trash enemies up to that point, including the Hellblaze Temptress enemies, will not be respawned. This one took me 4 runs before the orb dropped, so not terribly bad. For the Seiyad, we also have 4 Shivarra customization options. These are an awesome look and are all learned from the Grimoire of the Shivarra. As with many other Grimoires, these are crafted with the Inscription Profession from Legion and can also be bought on the auction house. For the base Felhunter, we have 2 customizations. The first, the Voracious Felhunter, has a random chance to drop from bosses in Dragonflight Time Rift events. Time Rift events occur in Tierhold Reservoir in Thaldraszus at the start of every hour at the top of the hour. The drop rate appears to be very low and can drop from any of the Time Rift bosses, so this one can be a very long grind to get if you run into some bad RNG. For the second, the Antoran Felhunter, we head to Antorus, the Burning Throne raid in the Antoran Wastes on Argus. For this customization, we need to get the Grimoire of the Antoran Felhunter. The Grimoire has a chance to drop from the Felhounds of Sargeras boss, and the Felhounds are the second boss of the raid and a straight shot from the raid entrance. So this is very easy to get to, and at level 70, the Felhounds are an easy kill. While in Antorus, you can also get the Xorothian Dreadhound and the Xorothian Darkglare customizations. From the Felhounds of Sargeras, we head left, and after crossing the bridge, you see a clickable portal stand that takes us to Portal Keeper Hazabel. To get the Xorothian Dreadhound, you'll first need your weapon transmog set to Zardum, Great Staff of the Devourer, which drops from Illidan in the Black Temple raid. You will want to make sure during the fight not to kill Portal Keeper Hazabel immediately like I did here. Shortly after the fight begins, you'll see him cast a spell to open the portals. After the spell is complete, enter the orange portal, which will teleport you to a different platform. Interact with the deactivated portal near the center of that platform while wearing the transmog staff and select Channel the power of your weapon into the gateway. The second Dreadhound customization is the Void Maw. For this, we need to go to Legion Karazhan. To access the dungeon entrance, we head to Deadwind Pass, and at Karazhan you will see a stone cross bridge between 2 buildings. At the end of the bridge is the portal. For this, we'll clear the raid up to the Mana Devourer boss. After defeating Mana Devourer, you'll be brought back to original size and then be transported to the Guardian's study area. In the Guardian study, take one of the spiral staircases up to the 2nd floor. In one of the bookshelves on the second floor, you'll see a sparkling object that is a torn page ritual of the Voidmaw Hunter. Clicking on the ritual page will teach you the Voidmaw customization. The Darkglare, like the Imp, has a ton of different customizations that include the Darkglare, Observer, and Ancient Observer models. We start with one option for the Darkglare, and the remaining 4 customizations are all learned through grimoires that drop from Legion, dungeons, and raids. The first, Eredathian Darkglare, drops from Zoral the Ascended in the seat of the Triumvirate dungeon located in Eredath on Argus. To get to the entrance, we'll go to the left and up around the path, and Zoral Ascended is the first boss in the dungeon, so this is a really quick run. To get Zoral to spawn, you need to defeat the Shadowguard Subjugators, keeping him in the protective barrier. After bringing down the barrier, defeat Zoral, and you can loot the grimoire. The second, Riftsmolder Darkglare, drops from defeating Viz Adum the Watcher, the last boss in the Legion version of Karazhan. As with other dungeon and raid bosses in Legion, this one is a one-shot if you are level 70. The third, Xorothian Darkglare, as we mentioned earlier, drops from Portal Keeper Hazabel in Antorus the Burning Throne raid. And finally, the Abyssal Darkglare drops from Mistress Sazine in the Tomb of Sargeras, located in the Broken Shores on the Broken Isles. To get to Mistress Sazine, we need to defeat Goroth, the first boss of the raid. When Goroth spawns, it will break through the floor, leaving an opening into the Abyssal Throne, where Mistress Sazine is located. At level 70, this is a quick fight, and after defeating her, you can loot the grimoire. For the Observer model, we have 6 different appearances, and all are learned by clicking on carved eyes across Azeroth. For the Zealous Observer, we need to go to the Scarlet Monastery area in Tirisfal Glades. After entering the monastery area, head up the stairs and look in the first alcove to the left as you enter the main room. Click on the carved eye embedded on the tapestry on the wall to receive the grimoire. For the Dire Observer, head to Dire Maul in Feralis, and in the lowest section of the Maul Arena, you'll see an opening leading into a room with Gordok hyenas. In one of the alcoves in this room, you'll find a carved eye above a lit brazier, and clicking on the eye rewards the grimoire. For the Whispering Observer, we head to Anchorage. On the map to the left of the Temple of Anchorage raid entrance, in the outdoor area, you'll see a pile of rubble and a large stone on the ground. The carved eye is embedded in the large stone and can be difficult to see until you get up close. As with the other eyes, click on it and you receive the grimoire. For the Blasted Observer, we head to the Blasted Lands. Note that you need to be in the correct timeline to be able to see this. If you see the portal with invading orcs coming out of it, talk to Dezormi at the entrance of the Blasted Lands and ask her to change the timeline. At this point, you can then go to the Dark Portal, and you'll see the eye embedded at the base of the portal on the bottom left side. For the Mana-Gorged Observer, we head back to Karazhan and Deadwind Pass. As you are looking at the raid entrance, fly up and to the left to land on the tower walkway. Take the walkway around and you'll see a door embedded in the wall. When you open the door, you'll see a carved eye in the wall, which you can click for the grimoire. So before you go after the Plagued Observer eye, check and see if you have it already unlocked, as other grimoires may flag this as completed. You can check this by using the following command line in your chat. If it flags true, then you can skip this one. If the condition flag is false, then we head to the Eastern Plague Lands near the Stratholme dungeon entrance. To the right of the entrance along the shoreline, you'll see a stone block and a couple of trees. The carved eye is embedded in the tree closest to the shoreline. The final Darkglare, the Ancient Observer, of which there is a single customization, requires some puzzle solving and a little math. For this, we need to head to the Throne of Thunder, located on the Isle of Thunder in Pandaria. To get the grimoire of the Ancient Observer, we need to defeat Darumu the Forgotten and loot Darumu's glass pupil. Once you have the glass pupil, throw it in the center of the room, and this will trigger a puzzle that consists of 3 different colored braziers, red, green, and purple, a grimoire near the braziers, and 16 candles around the room. To activate the puzzle, click on the grimoire. We need to correctly count the number of lines of each color 5 times. During each stage, after counting the number of lines of each color, click on the colored braziers to get a stacking buff corresponding to the number of lines. For example, if there are 4 purple lines, you would click the purple brazier 4 times. Once you have the correct number of debuff stacks for each color, click the Grimoire again. If you have counted correctly, it will start the next round. So the red and green lines are pretty straightforward to count. The difficult part is determining the number of purple lines, and this is where we have a math equation to make it easier. For the purple lines, you want to count the number of candles that have purple lines coming out of them, and then use the following formula. So for example, my stage 5 that you see here had 16 candles with purple lines coming out of them, 16 green lines, and 5 red lines. So the equation was 16 times 15 divided by 2 minus 21, or 99 purple lines. Once you have finished stage 5, click on the ritual book to receive the Grimoire. If you're an Affliction Warlock, the Ancient Observer is definitely the most unique of all of our pet customizations that we have, and is a really cool look for your Darkglare. And finally, wow, this has been a long trip to get customizations, and I had no idea it was going to take this long. And finally, we have the Demonic Tyrant customization options, which are exclusive to Demonology Warlocks. For the Netherwalk Tyrant, we head back to Legion Dalaran and to our Warlock class Order Hall. In Dreadscar Rift, we talk to GG Gigavoid, the Black Harvest Quartermaster, and you can buy the Grimoire of the Netherwalk Tyrant from GG for 5,000 gold. For the Vile Tyrant, the Grimoire drops from Radix in the Antoran Wastes on Argus. To get the Grimoire, Radix must be in stasis and clickable to be awakened. If he is not in stasis, don't bother camping and killing him over and over again, as the Grimoire will not drop. He will be in stasis when the Legion World Quest Slumbering Behemoths is up, so this is something you'll need to check before heading to Argus for the Grimoire. For the Felbrute Tyrant, we need to go to Hellfire Citadel in Tannin Jungle on Draenor and defeat Archimonde. Unfortunately, Archimonde is the last boss of the raid, and it takes forever to traverse this raid, especially as a really slow Warlock. But once you reach Archimonde at level 70, it is a quick one-shot, and you only have to run it once to get the Grimoire. Our final one, the Bloodrage Tyrant, requires us to defeat Ixalan, the Soulbreaker in the Tomb of Sargeras. Ixalan is a mini-boss on the platform right before Kil'jaeden, the final boss in the tomb. You'll need to defeat a bunch of trash mobs around him as well, but at level 70, this is an easy kill. So after all that, I'm only missing 7 of the pet customization options. The remaining will require time walking weeks from a specific expansion, specific events and mobs to be up, and possibly a whole lot of farming of a few time rift and raid bosses. It certainly does take a good amount of time to get all of the customizations, but you can get quite a few achievements knocked out as well, as chances for gear and weapon transmogs and other items from the raid bosses and trash. The pet customizations give Warlocks a great way to distinguish their character and contribute to the unique look that you are looking for. As always, let us know what you think down below in the comments, and everyone, have a great day.